What's going on, car guys and car gals? It's Lou Ramirez, the car guy.
And it's Fred Lennart, subprime hero.
And we're over here with the one,
the only Owen Moon.
What's going on, brother?
What's up, gentlemen?
Dude,
good afternoon.
These guests that you brought along with us for today's show are just top-notch level people that I cannot wait to introduce. But also, we're going to be talking about NADA, man. The show is happening in a week. I'm excited about that. The biggest show on earth. Let's go. But I'm excited to be doing this today, man. This is a great one to get ready for the next week and pumped up about it. How are you feeling about it, Owen?
You know, we're knee deep, man. We're still, in the final prep for it. It's been a crazy month. Obviously the last couple weeks of the year, slowed down a lot with the holidays and stuff. But January 2nd hit, and I think everybody looked at each other and went, "Man, we got 23 days. Let's go." So, we're getting everything ready, and we're fired up. It's going to be a great show. I'm actually kind of glad that it's the end of January this year instead of the end of March. I think that, with the way the economy has sort of shifted here in the last 60 days and that type of thing, we're going to have a lot of dealerships, at the show looking for answers or looking for help. And I feel like I would rather have it be the end of January where they're getting some of those conversations and things like that than waiting until the end of March when you're, three months into the year. So couldn't be a better time. I know it's early this year compared to what it's been, but our team's ready. We're bringing a whole team out and got a lot planned for those 3 days. So.
Well, that's exciting, and we're pumped up about it. One, because we're going to get the chance to chill with you. We're going to get to see everybody at this party. You want to tell them a little bit about this party before we getting these guests on? Tell them a little bit about what's cooking over here.
Yeah, we put this together with some really cool sponsors that we're friendly with, and just kind of sit in the same area as us. And so we thought let's get some of the dealers that come by our booths and that type of thing. Let's focus on letting them maybe unwind a little bit. So Kevin, who's one of our business partners, you heard of this place or knew this place called the Happiest Hour, and so we came up with this idea like, hey, go to happy hour, grab some dinner, and then come to the happiest hour for for the evening, because in Vegas everybody has something to do, right? They can go gamble, they can go to a show, they can go hang out, they go dancing, whatever. I don't know what's going to be going on in Dallas after 8 o'clock, right? Most people, there ain't a lot going on. So I feel like there's a lot of parties. So I think there'll be plenty of people bouncing around to different parties, things to do. But we expect that we're going to have a decent turnout. I think there'll be a lot of people coming by, with some of our other companies that are co-sponsoring with us. Obviously, they'll help with that as well. So come on out. Happiest hour, 8 to 11 on Saturday night. It'll be the last night before a lot of people fly out, probably Sunday morning, probably hungover, but that's okay. We'll make sure they have a good time before they leave. So
that's right. Awesome. It's going to be the place. We'll be there too. Yes, I can't wait. I'm excited. I put that in my calendar. That was the first party I put in. I was like, going to this one. There's no doubt. There's going to be some amazing people there, amazing businesses that teamed up together to be able to put this out there for you all. So dealers, vendors, all you all, just come on out. It's going to be a great time to be able to socialize and have that one last night together of just NADA partying. Let's go.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time.
But let's bring the A-team on, man. Let's go. Let's bring that A-team on. Right
here, we're having a good time. So car guys, car gals, if you're seeing this on the replay or you're watching this live right now as it's happening, do us a favor and tag a car guy, tag a car gal, and share. Get
it out there.
Get the word out there. We have a double shot of fixed ops right here going on today. We got a little bit of Sean John in the building, right? We got a little bit of fixing up of those incredible solutionaries that are in fixed ops. We wanted to do it actually from a garage today, but daggone it, it's cold out here in Jersey. I'm telling you.
We were thinking about trying to set up out there. It was just like, nah, it's not going to work. It was really noisy in there too, but they're working hard. This service department here at Lilliston's kicking butt. They're doing a really good job. Everything from obviously their service to their parts, they're doing it, and it's pretty fun to watch them do it. But anyway, we're here. We're excited. Let's get the A-team in the house. We do. He said Sean John, right? And I love it because we do. We got two of them here. We're ready to bring them on the screen. I think once we get them on, everyone knows who they are. I mean, these people have been doing it for a long time, and they're sharing their knowledge with so many out there. They're helping this industry and fix ops just explode and get into the future where it's at. And just much like Fix Ops Digital is doing out there with what they're trying to do with the online service marketing. These two are doing some amazing things also. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about NADA, but let's get them on the screen, Lou. Let's do this.
That's right. Don Brady's already in the room, ready to welcome in these solutionaries. So without further ado, let's welcome in the first guest on Fixed Ops Friday for today. It is the one, the only John Fairchild. Welcome to the party, brother. Welcome.
Usually it's John bringing the energy. I love it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. You guys are really hard to keep up with, man. I love it. I need to call you first thing in the morning and get my daily dose. Obviously, geez, and get me started. Oh my God, I feel much better now. Thank you.
Heck yeah, no problem. We are happy to oblige.
We are happy to have you here, man. Folks, if you all don't know John, go to social media, look him up. He's traveling all across the country, training dealerships, showing them how to do it the right way. I'm excited. I mean, he is a leader in his industry, and he's doing it with grace, with fun, and he's a great guitar player. I just got to say, he definitely knows how to play that six string really well. So I'm excited to have you on the show today. But we do have one other guest, another part of the A team that I want to bring onto the screen today. We have the one, the only Shon Kingrey. Let's
Welcome
go
to the party.
Afternoon, gentlemen. How you guys doing? You guys are a tough act to follow. John's not kidding. John, this needs to be our morning kickoffs in the morning. I'm telling you. That's awesome. Holy energy. I love it.
Brother, we're excited to have you here.
Yes,
What you've done, your name speaks for itself. I think a lot of people know what you do and how you do it, and we're excited to be able to share that with everyone out there. Folks, this is the dream team right here. This is what I'm talking about, the A team that's going to be able to deliver some things that are just going to blow your mind today. Folks, NADA is around the corner. Guys, let's get this thing rocking and rolling. Let's get this conversation going. But before we do anything, actually,
we have one thing that we got to make sure everybody jumps in and does, and that's the secret handshake that isn't so secret anymore because we shout it out everywhere we possibly can, and that's to make sure that we do forgive, focus, and fly so that we can keep growing all the time. So help us out, gentlemen, as we go ahead and get this Fixed Ops Friday underway. Give us a little forgive, focus, fly on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Forgive. Focus, fly,
and keep
growing. That's right.
Growing.
Now we're ready to. Now you all part of the club. Solutionaries mounting up. We're rising up. Let's go with it, right?
There we go.
So let's get to it, y'all. I mean, what's the thing in Fixed Ops right now that everyone's wanting to do? What's the change? What's happening in 23? Let's start with John. What are you thinking, John?
Well, I've been in the industry, like you guys said, a long time. I've 43 years this year, and I spent about 20 years in retail, and I've now spent about 23 years helping dealers maximize their current performance. And functionally, I serve in 3 ways for dealers, and they all kind of sound similar, but I'll explain the difference. Number 1 is a consultant. Number 2, I function as a trainer. Number 3, a coach. So let me kind of break those down a little bit. A consultant knows what to do. It's analysis, it's process configuration, it is strategy. And the second thing is training. Training is obviously teaching, but I know you guys have heard this expression before. It's actually came out of my mouth before, is nobody trained me. But I will say that once you know how to do something, you really train yourself through your habits, your daily habits. And the third thing that I do with dealers every day, day in and day out, is coaching. And really, coaching is going from good to great, or from great to greater. It's incremental improvement. But what I will say has been happening in the last couple of years, and on a dealership level, is that we have a lot of times been forced to put people in a situation, particularly on a service drive, that either they don't have the experience there yet, or they're short-staffed. So in a way, we've kind of been habituating our own people to take shortcuts. And so what I feel like is appropriate and is happening in the marketplace right now is that we're kind of getting back onto solid ground. We got to get back into a training regiment. We got to get back to where we're expecting people to execute the process. And the word I just said is the most important thing. Every strategy, every new idea, every software, every tablet, every different approach is important. But if we're not executing them consistently, that it doesn't mean anything. So basically what I have really spent a lot of time doing in 2022 and moving forward in 2023, a lot of the same, is helping people to execute. making sure we got a solid process, making sure that we are not biting off too much that we can chew, but that we're making it each process a religion before we get to the next one. And I really feel like 2023 is going to be more of that, where we can get people in a solid process and we can really expect them to execute.
You know, John, I've heard this, you say this already this year on a different show, but I've also heard several people that they said 2023 is the year to get back to the basics. And it's so true, right? Because what happens is we overcomplicate things. We keep bringing in more things, think it's going to help. And before you know it, we're all staring at each other going, well, what am I supposed to be doing? You know, it's like, how do I use all this stuff together? And so, and then guess who suffers? The customer does, right? It's not necessarily you guys that are the dealerships that suffering, although they're suffering as well, but it's the ultimate suffering, which is the customer. So getting back to the basics, I loved it when you said it a couple weeks ago when I heard you on another show. And obviously, Shon, you're in the trenches. By the way, congratulations on your Fixed Ops magazine cover. That's awesome. Well deserved. No one better, you know. But I guess, what are you doing, Shon? You know, obviously you're at a new store, so you're probably still trying to put some of your stamp on it as well. But, you know, how are you taking that back to the basics approach, with a new team, which is another challenge, obviously?
You know, when it is back to the basics, and again, we talk about it in other shows a lot, is, listen, this is the year of fixed ops, guys. I'm here to tell you. The COVID hangover is over. We're past the 10 grand over window sticker crap, okay? You go past the lots right now outside of Toyota, and there's cars on the lot they can't sell. The days of not have inventory are over. And the inventory they have, quite frankly, isn't sexy. It's not. And used cars are an absolute disaster right now. I won't listen. This is live. I won't use the word, but it's a something show, and we'll just leave it at that. All right, it's ugly, and you have all these people now that have these vehicles that they paid 10 G's over window sticker for that can't get rid of them. They're stuck in them, guys. The 1 year flips are done. It's the year of fixed operations. And listen, John and I and Owen have a long relationship. Everybody knows that. John and I have been together for 3 years. We've had some knockdown, drag-outs, kisses, hugs, throw punches at each other. But, you know, it is back to the basics. And listen, I made a comment a couple weeks ago. If you don't know what used car retention is, if you don't know what your absorption is, you're in trouble, because that's where it's at, guys. And I know we're talking about EVs in California, and, you know, we all love Tully out in California talking about it. But up here in Wisconsin, yes, I moved from Florida to Wisconsin. Everybody's shocked by that. But up here in Wisconsin, EV, I know. But this is home for me. And by the way,
100%.
107 Packer games. So I might be a big Packer fan.
There you go.
But that all being said, guys, it's back to the basics. It's back to fixed operations. You go to the showroom right now, and it's like a ghost town. And by the way, I hate to say this, the salespeople stopped out to sell cars. If a guy came in and said, "You don't want the Explorer," guess what? The next guy will. That's gone now, guys. They're not selling. Yeah, I was at one of our stores up north yesterday, right outside of Green Bay. Shocking. And listen, they have 250 new Dodges on the lot. They can't get rid of them at 0% interest. They can't give the car away. It's ugly. We have a Ford store that's got a monster. Not that they're not doing well. We're a profitable group. But again, it's back to fixed. Fixed is going to be the focus of 2023. It has to be. We kind of got off the radar for a couple of years. It's back on us.
Hey, it is. And I love that. And that's so true. You know, for all you fixed ops departments out there, knowing that this next year is where it's at, what are you doing, right? Reach out to these people. We got Shon, we got John, we got Owen Moon in the house. This is a great place for you to learn some stuff today, but also reach out to them after the show. If you have some issues, they're happy to talk you through it. And if anything, they'll at least pass you on to somebody that can help. But just the information, the conversation will change your life. But this is the year. Step it up. You don't want to be left behind right now. And this is a big deal. And NADA is coming around the corner. There's going to be a lot of talk about fixed ops while we're there. There's going to be plenty of people to go meet and learn from. But we're talking about this A-team right here on this screen. This screen right here can really help us out. So I love that we're talking about the year of fixed ops. Things are changing. We got to get back to the basics. I really do agree with that 100%. And yeah, and like John said, we do need to help people to execute. That's the key this year. We got to make sure that they execute what they're doing. We did form bad habits. Everything from the front, and you're talking about sales department all the way to service department. It was very simple. Now it's time for us to step it up. We're going to have to deal with objections, people complaining, people saying, out other places I can go and do this. How do you overcome that? Well, you reach out to John. He'll give you some coaching on that, right? Reach out to Shon. He'll make sure that you've got that going on. He understands how to make that work. He literally went all the way to Wisconsin, not for the cheese, but to go up there and help somebody get better at what they're doing. And then we obviously got the online service marketing guru right here, Owen Moon, folks. I'm telling you. and they all know a lot of people for anything else that you need. Man, this is a great show so far. I'm really liking what we're talking about. 23 is going to be big. What do you think at NADA is going to be the big topic for fixed ops? Is probably this stuff here?
Well, I'll jump in that one, guys. I think EV is going to be a big topic because I think you got some laws that are coming around. I think it's a big market coming from a Hellcat guy that this is the last year for ICE engines, obviously. I might have had 13 of them in my life, no judging. But anyway, I think it's coming, guys. It is. It's reality. You got to focus on it. But I do think it's back again, John. I don't want to overuse the term. It is back to the basics, guys. It's the walker. It's the things for the last 2 years. We can use COVID. COVID is an excuse. Oh, we couldn't do walk arounds. We couldn't do this. Listen, guys, I was in Florida for the last 5.5 years. We didn't have COVID in Florida, all right? But we still got away from the walk arounds because it was easy, because the cars were there. And back like what I said, for the last 2 years, all we sold is used cars because there was no new cars to sell. Our used car retention sucks in the car business, guys. If you're not focusing on used cars, that's a plug for Owen, by the way. If you're not marketing to your used car clients, you're going to be out of business this year because there are no new cars coming in this year. For those of us that were in the business in 2008 and said we don't need sales, in 2009 we had our hands in our pocket because they weren't selling any new cars. We're going to be there next year, guys, if we're not careful.
Oh, so
absolutely. Absolutely. If I could jump in, back to basics to me is let's go all the way back, you guys, and let's hit reset. And let me ask you a question. If you're a fixed ops director, service manager, do you actually have an operating system for your department? And let me explain that. Basically, there are 4 disciplines to execution. We were talking about execution earlier. And, I preach this from a mountaintop because it really is an operating system to which you can control your fixed operations department. And here's what I mean. Here are the four disciplines of execution. Number 1, a wildly important goal. Well, in a fixed operations department, that's pretty easily to get there. It's your goal for profitability. It's your goal for your customer experience numbers. Okay. And it automatically has a deadline because we all know that at the end of the month, we may be a hero, but at the first of the month, we go back to 0. Okay. So your wildly important goal has got to be understood by every member of your team and has got to be reiterated on a daily basis. Okay. Number 2, disciplines of execution. The second one is acting on lead measures. And I will explain that one as well. In the world of metrics, anything we can pull out of the DMS, anything that the manufacturer reports about our customer experience numbers is already sailed. That ship is already sailed. Those numbers are lag metrics. They've already happened. I can't affect them. I cannot affect them. But what I want you to do, and what I'm challenging you here to do right now, is if you've got a lag metric you don't like, it's your CSI number, it's your gross profit, parts and labor gross profit per hour number, it is your effective labor rate. It's all these things that are lag metric. Here's what I would do if I was you: is do a little soul searching and let's reverse the clock. If we go back to a time in the past where I could affect those numbers, what are the things in your process that you could do better that will result in a better lag measurement? Now, these are things, again, you can't pull out of your DMS. They're mostly observational. So get out there on the drive and see, am I doing the right number of walk-arounds like Shon said? It's really basic stuff. Am I doing my walk-arounds? Am I making presentations 100% of the time? Am I TOing anything that gets declined to my manager so he can take another swing at it? Am I doing active deliveries? It's really all of your process steps that are going to make that lag metric come out better. So that's number 2, act on lead measures. The third thing, and I don't see this in a lot of cases, Shon's got it. Some of our other good friends like Tully Williams has got it in spades. It is keeping a compelling scoreboard. Okay. And now here's the elements of a compelling scoreboard. Number 1, it can't be paralysis by analysis. I got to be able to look at that scoreboard and tell within 10 seconds, am I winning or am I losing? Okay. And number 2 is it's got to be in a place that is not customer facing, but employees see it. And then I can do a daily huddle. And that brings me to number 4 of the disciplines of execution is a cadence of accountability. And that's where it all falls apart or it gels together. If I don't have a cadence of accountability, all the training in the world is going to evaporate. What I mean by that is I got to have a daily scoreboard session, a huddle meeting that is not a complaint session. I almost used another word. And it's not a housekeeping session, but it is basically, I am asking my team members to give me what they're going to do to get out of the red if they're not in the green. If they're in the green, I want them to share with the other team members, how'd you get there? Because now it becomes something that I feel like is feasible as a team member. So those 4 disciplines of execution, that is as basic as you can get, guys. But I guarantee you, if you are being honest with yourself as a fixed ops director, do you do those 4? Are you really focusing on the 4 disciplines of execution in your service department?
Wow, strong.
Oh, man, that's powerful.
Oh,
wow.
It is all kinds of dimes, folks. I hope you're taking notes. Rewind that. Watch this again. Watch this on the replay. It's there for life. Go out.
And I know, John, you were, using those 4 in reference to the fixed operations department, but man, that could be used in so many different areas, right?
Oh,
vendors could use that. I mean, it might be a little bit different, but the last one, the accountability one, is definitely the one, because we live in a world right now where everybody has been, kind of caught in COVID and, trying to get back to some normalcy. And I see it all over the place with different vendors and talking to different business owners with their employees and stuff like that. We have to create some consistencies across our business, because we haven't had that, and people are looking for it. And I think that if you don't know where you're going, how are you going to get there? And I think that some of what John's 100%. Saying is completely true. From a fixed ops standpoint, a fixed ops digital standpoint, I'll say that one of the things that we're excited about is for 2023 is to really kind of dive into some other profit centers, tires, accessories. These are all areas that we talk about all the time, but we don't ever really execute on. And so our team has been under the hood, really coming up with ways that we can kind of tackle some of that. And so that's some of the things that we're kind of focusing on, not only for the show, but obviously with our clients as well. And I know that doesn't really say get back to the basics, because it's kind of almost saying, hey, we're expanding, but there's more profit inside the fixed operations departments than we typically are taking advantage of. And sometimes it has to expand into those other areas that, tires are a huge retention play, but they're also a profit center if we can do it right. So those are things that we're kind of working on. But yeah, a question I have for Shon, I mean, I don't know if you're going out there, Shon, to NADA, but as a fixed ops director, what would you say, if you're walking around the show, what kind of businesses should you be looking at? Like as you walk by and you see 10 businesses, which ones should you maybe not give us names, but what types of businesses should be on your radar?
For me, it's 2 words: simple, simple, simple. Ready? Accountability and retention. It's all about those 2 things. Listen, anybody can do fluff and buff, and we can all come up with all the initials in the world. It's accountability and its retention. Those are the 2 focuses for me for 2023. Again, I'm coming to a group that was extremely variable driven. I understood what I got into. Mr. Fairchild and I had many conversations about it prior to me coming here. We still do, by the way, on a daily basis. Guys, I knew that they weren't focused on fixed operations. And the good news is they're completely focused on fixed operations now. Retention and accountability. Very simple, Owen. I don't need the fluff and buff. I don't need the smoke up the rear end. I got enough of that, I promise you, okay?
100%.
I need retention and accountability. I'm just calling it what it is.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And I think you're 100%. I think accountability, and I love that you both are talking about that a lot, and all 3 of you all talking about that a lot. And that is the key. I think that a lot of times we got really lazy because things were easy in a lot of ways. It wasn't easy, but it was, right? We didn't have to be accountable for people. The employees, we were coming and going. We were letting people off because of a headache, right? All those things were happening, and we weren't holding people accountable. And that's okay. It's over with. We can't change anything we did in the past. All we could do is focus on now. Well, accountability, in my opinion, is as a leader, is one of the best ways to show love to your staff. If you're not holding them accountable, do you really care? That's the thing, hands down. And then having a good cadence. And I love that you said cadence of accountability, John, because it is. You have to have a cadence for it too. It has to be done at a certain time, or you're going to be too sporadic and no one's going to believe you're doing it. And when they see the leader just being sporadic and they don't see like any type of structure, that's how they're going to act. We follow the leader. So you have to be very about that. The accountability, bingo, retention is how you have accountability is how you have retention. So I think those are really key words. I love that you said that, Shon. I love that we're all talking about that. That's great.
Build on that, John. Looks like you had more.
Yeah, I mean, if I could jump in right there, I appreciate that. Is if I'm only holding people accountable sometimes, it feels like an attack.
Amen. That's exactly what it is.
If I let it go for a week, for 2 weeks or whatever, now all of a sudden I'm expecting, hey, what about walk-arounds or what about whatever, right? Now it feels like an attack. But if I am doing it on a daily basis and, I've got a rhythm to it, I've got a cadence to it, I'm really asking them what they're going to do, what I can do as a leader to help them. What tools do you need? What training do you need? Where is the disconnect? And letting them give you the answers. Any answers I can get from a team member of how they're going to address it are going to be way more instituted by that team member than me dictating to them. So, as long as they're giving me an answer I agree with, I want them to give me the answer of how they're going to improve their situation.
So true. And that's key leadership, right? Being able to have them vested into what it is that's being created because they're actually contributors. It's one thing for us to lay out a block of instructions that have to get done because we said so and because we believe that it's part of the mission. It's a whole other thing to say, hey, what is it that you're facing? What is it that you're seeing most? And you know what? Let's come up with solutions for that. Guys, what are some of the pain points inside of our operations that we all get frustrated with? Usually, if we get everybody to sing the same song, then we can say, well, let's agree that this is a solution that makes that not be such a problem or gets rid of the problem at all. If we have a hard time getting to this, let's put a plan together that we can all agree with. And then everybody's bought into it because it's not just the leaders, it's ours. We came up with that together.
Yeah.
And then putting a plan in place to where we say, all right, we all agree that this is a good idea to do this, right? And then we do it. We actually do it. And then it's not a surprise. It's definitely not going to be a habit day one, right? We have to create the habit. We have to create the consistency until eventually they're then bringing the accountability backwards. They say, whoa, something's off with our rhythm here. We didn't do that one meeting. We didn't have a great news meeting. We didn't have a quick checkup. We didn't have a pit stop, right? 100%. Love it. With that, though, in trying to get the those that are out there seeking the information that is at NAD. I mean, again, there's so much information that's out there. And as we are building on accountability and retention, where would you say that this actually is assisted by a solution like Fixed Ops Digital, where they can actually put the information in front of you that you're most needing? I'm going to kick that over to Shon and just what is it that knowing the backside of how we're actually getting people to keep being aware of our service, how is that so important, or where's the benefits for that as people are seeking answers? How is this going to help their accountability and retention?
So in my previous life down in Florida, I can tell you Owen and I had a good relationship. I had a good relationship with his staff, guys. Here's the one thing I'll say about Owen and his team: set it and forget it. And that's my point. Listen, we don't have time every day with the grind and the meetings and the John Fairchilds of the world to babysit the same crap every single day. Love you, John. No, but I wish I had a sign that said I love you, John, but I don't have one. Sorry. But guys, you can set it up with Owen and forget about it. His team will handle it behind the scenes. And this is not because Owen's on the screen. I did a little interview last year at NADA in Vegas for Owen. Guys, it's the same answer. If you set it up and you set it up right, thanks, buddy. Heartfelt. Anyway, if you set it up with Owen's team, guys, it runs in the background. You don't have to touch it. You can set it and forget it. Owen and I's team would do it by the quarter, which, by the way, is a dream for me because that means I got to do it 4 times a year. That's it. And it's set. And by the way, his coupons will match your OEM coupons, which, by the way, then your OEM, your rep's not breathing down your neck that you're doing something wrong. It matches the big bulletin board behind you at the GM stores, guys. And again, I've been doing this for 28 years. I'm not quite as old as John. I love you, John. I keep saying it. But anyway, guys, I'm just here to tell you, if you can set it and forget it, use Owen's guys, and I've used them all. I've used all the advertising companies in the world. He is probably the simplest, and by the way, responsive. If there's a problem and a question comes up, Owen has never not responded. And when I say immediately, as soon as you hit enter, you got an answer. Promise you.
Well, thank you, Shon. I appreciate that.
Can I chime in on that?
Yeah.
I do a monthly 2-day workshop at the Pinnacle Training Center in Atlanta, Georgia.
Shout out Jonathan Dawson.
And I do service advisor and I do service manager training. And I did have Owen do an hour-long segment in one of my last service manager.
I was there.
Yeah. And, he brought some, you talk about back to basics. There's a lot of times in this industry, you don't know what the tried and true best practices are of any particular thing. Digital can be something that's very intimidating to a lot of fixed ops directors, believe it or not, may not be as savvy technically as they really should be these days. And if you can lean on somebody that's an industry expert that's been in thousands of stores and knows what the best practices are, it is Owen Moon and it is Fixed Ops Digital. I appreciate you, Owen, for bringing all the tremendous information you did to the group that I was teaching. But it's so, it after you have it laid out, it seems like, wow, that is the roadmap that you should take. But if you don't know the roadmap, it's just like you were saying earlier, how are you going to get there?
It is.
Yeah, sometimes a blank paper is the hardest thing in the world, right? Because you look at it and it's just all blank. Sometimes you just got to have some outline or at least some bullet points to sort of kickstart the thing. And that's kind of what happened with us. When we started this company, we put a bunch of stuff down on paper and would send it over to the fixed ops directors or the service managers to say, hey, think about these things. And now we've opened, Pandora's box, which is great because now it's like, there's so many ideas coming at us now that we almost have to prioritize and things like that. But that's what happens when there's collaboration. That's what happens when there's movement inside a certain part of the business. And that's exactly.
We all love you, Owen.
Thank you, sir. But yeah, no, that's exciting stuff. I mean, obviously, thank you, John. Thank you, Shon. I mean, I appreciate the kind words. We get up every day and work hard, but I think that what I like the most about being on the fixed ops side the last 5 years exclusively is I get to meet guys like Shon and John, and they have all these years of experience inside this side of the business, and I've become a student as well. And I actually really want to talk about that a little bit. I know we got on some NADA stuff, but when I learn from John, Shon, guys like that, it helps go back to the team and come up with solutions that can help them from a marketing standpoint. And I don't know if that necessarily happens on the variable side as much. I think the variable side is a lot more like, hey, we've got this great idea, and they just try to shove it up a dealer's butt. You know what? But I think in the back end, I've seen, just from my time working with like Ted Ings and his roundtables and just some of the 20 groups and things like that, the collaboration on the fixed operation side is something to really some industries should really take into consideration or use as a model, because it's been awesome. So
I totally agree with that. I love that you're talking about collaborations and being part of things. And that's the true thing. Like, that word vendor is kind of used quite a bit. What I do know is that Fixed Ops Digital and so many others, John, Fairchild, when you're out there, we're not vendors, we're dealer partners. We want to collab with you all. We want to make sure that what you're getting is what you need, right? Every dealership's a snowflake. So we have to go in and really evaluate to be able to deliver the things that we know are going to bring you the best ROI on your money, right? Also be able to give you the best processes or the ideas and getting ideas from them to be able to improve what you're doing. Because if you're not changing, you're going to stop growing. It's the key is to constantly evolve, look for ideas. And I love that Owen said he opened Pandora's box. He did. But at the end of the day, he's blessed that he did, because he knows that his product is way better for his dealers, for his dealer partners that he's working with as a team to make sure that fixed ops department is getting all the online service marketing that they can get in the right way. And I love that we talked about a moment ago, being able, and Owen, great point, is being able to show them all the different profit centers, right? Being able to explain to them, hey, listen, it's not just the hours that we have here. It's also all the parts that we have. You can keep bringing it up. There's so many ways we can market this and help increase that line that's here, that bottom one, to be a little bit higher, right? We could turn that into a top line one day. But that being said, we're talking about two great people collaborating with you. You talked about Shon, you talked about John. When it comes to collaboration, there's a lot of people, and I love that Fixed Ops is big about collaboration, and I think leading it right now. And I think that what you just said, I forgot who said, I think it was Shon, that 2023 is the year of Fixed Ops.
Yep.
Right? It is. And it's not just this year. It's going to be this year and forward. So understand that this is a big, big play. I think that most dealerships are going to be over 50% of profit from that side of the house. So they have to understand that it's time to really increase that and get that retention, right? We talked about retention, not just with our people that work with us, more importantly, our clients that are coming back and doing business with us. So retention, let's talk about retention for a moment. Being that we're marketing online, I think that Owen's obviously his business is doing that. What's another thing that we can do to make sure that we're keeping retention with the customers?
I'm going
to kick that to
John.
John, let's go with John.
Retention is a huge thing, right? And what is retention? Retention means that they're coming back to you. And if your service advisors aren't building quality relationships with their clientele, they're not going to come back. Then it's a transaction. So the coaching that you're doing in the service drive as fixed ops leaders is really got to focus on relationships. Are your service advisors building the kind of relationships where, the name on the dealer building almost goes away, and now it's your service advisor that is really the main contact point. People want a guy or a gal in the service drive they can trust, that they don't have to shop, that they know that's got their best interests in mind, that's not going to try to take their head off. That's what retention's about. If I've got somebody that is my guy, guess what? I'm going to tell everybody around me. And not only create retention, but I'm going to create some natural conquest customers that are going to come in just by word of mouth. But it all starts with that relationship. You've got to have the right disposition to be a service advisor and to be a customer interfacing person every day in the service department. And if your people don't have those skills, sharpen them up. And sometimes you really can't train that, because really what it takes, Sean, it takes actually caring. Giving a darn, if we can put it into generic terminology. You can't train giving a darn, okay? And we have another terminology for it that Sean and I use, but that's the first thing you got to do is you got to have somebody that cares about people. Customers actually have to like you. So I would go out on my service drive and observationally see, and you know it if you've been there sometime, are my service advisors making the kind of quality relationships with my customers that are going to drive retention? That's a grassroots level approach.
Right.
It's a back to basics approach. Are we making quality relationships?
I got to throw that to you, Sean. I know Sean's got something on that.
I do. I'm gonna go backwards one more step, guys, and it's something I've done a few panels on, and on that other show we won't talk about. But guys, it goes back to service walk, the service drive walk. We can all BS each other and say that it's happening. It's not happening. It's not back to retention. First of all, if you don't have a service representative or you don't have something in place that shows a client what the service department is when you're not there. When we leave at 6 o'clock and they're still selling cars till 10 o'clock, guys, they still have to do the service drive walk. They have to talk about the service department. You need to be in the sales meetings in the mornings as a manager. You need to have this with your sales department. Silos kill everything. Silos, they kill everything, guys. Silos are deadly. If you don't have a policy in place, and if your salesman up there saying, hey, by the way, don't go back there because they suck, then you're dead. And guys, it happens. Don't fool yourself that it doesn't happen. Our service department sucks. Guys, where's your retention going to be? You just told your client where to go. And again, I know I've already beaten a dead horse on the used car thing. It has to happen on used cars too. We can work on anything nowadays. John and I will tell you right now, we're whores. We don't care. We'll fix anything. Sorry, John. Love you. Love you.
Love it.
No, but it's true. You talk about retention. It does start in sales, guys. And go back to what John covered, his 4 principles. And John and I worked on those a lot together over the last 4 years or whatever it's been. Guys, those are the same rules that sales had. They're really variable and fixed, aren't a whole lot different. We try to reinvent the wheel. It's still the same darn process every single day.
So true. That's why it is so important that we get back to the basics. We get back to the free throw line and start making sure that we're working on our techniques of communication. Is usually the situation, right? There is a disconnect inside of our communication with our staff, with our fellow employees, and then with the customer. And if we do use for an excuse, okay, the service department left at 5, we're here till 8, we didn't do the service walk, but you have to find a way to get this connected. It's your value proposition. And talking to sales pros out there, okay, that's more of our side of the dealership, where we would really be able to make sure that we could get it clear that if you want to make sure your customer knows how valuable it is doing business with your store, highlight your service department and the great mechanics that are back there that you need to come see again.
That's right.
The third parties are not going to stop aggressively marketing after your business, whether it's a franchise store or you're an independent that has a service lane. No matter what, they're going to keep going after that. As a matter of fact, in many case scenarios, warranty companies are giving love to the third-party vendors to get their parts, to get service work done, and they're recommending it. We have to be ahead of the curve, and nothing replaces the personal relationship or that handoff where you can have that familiar face and make sure that it's clear. And it's only going to help your CSI go up. Come on. It's only going to help your CSI go up. It's only going to make sure that your actual surveys are good and genuine right through the roof. Come on, folks. What are we talking about? Owen, you got something on that?
Well, I'll take it from a marketing standpoint, because retention is like one of those strategies, right? Like, hey, we need a retention strategy this month. The problem is you need to use all of your things or all your opportunities in front of you for retention. First off, your service BDC. Are they giving you communication opportunities for those customers? Second of all, your website. Obviously, that's probably first, even your website, right? We provide a lot of great content on our websites for our dealers to answer questions. That's a retention play. It makes you the authority when somebody's looking for those answers. Because the problem is, when it comes to marketing, by the time you go into your database and you look at people that have not been in your been to your dealership within 2 years or 18 months or whatever that criteria is, you've already lost them. They haven't been there for 18 months. Problem is, we didn't know it. And we always use this line a lot. We say retention is like death by 1,000 paper cuts. You don't actually know what's happening until you get that list and you're like, oh, I haven't seen Owen in 18 months. That's right. That was a guy that was in here all the time. Where did he go? Well, you know where I went? I went to a guy that won my business, per se, right? So it has to be all the way through. Otherwise, by the time you get a list and say, I want to do a retention email or a direct mail campaign, whatever, it's almost too late. So it's got to be all the way through, and it's got to be part of your daily processes, not just, hey, let's decide to do a retention campaign and go after. And then obviously having good information on your website. I think that's a great resource these days that a lot of people use. But to Shon and John's point, it has to be a full process. It can't be siloed. It's got to be start at the sales process, bring it through to your BDCs, have things in play that you're constantly doing outreach and talking to customers. And then eventually, you're going to get that customer back in, and you won't have to do a retention campaign to get that customer back in because you've kept in touch with them all the way through. So
there's nothing like a retention campaign, and then you can't even keep them when they do come back. Right? I mean, that's silly.
We make it hard to do business with us sometimes.
And you don't make any money. That's the retention campaign's the lost leader, right?
Yes.
Hey, come back in, we'll give you a free oil change. Well, what kind of, who wants that deal? You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Exactly. So true. We were spending some time with sales yesterday, just being able to take a look in what they were calling a service lead per se, and then seeing when's the last time that person came in here. It's been a couple of years. They've had oil changes. Yes. They've had maintenance done, right? And making sure that we do have a plan in place to keep those conversations cultivated. Folks, if we don't put a plan in place, nothing's ever going to happen. And our lunch is getting taken by third parties that are aggressively making sure that they stay top of mind of customers after the fact. Right. With the coupons, more calls, appointment confirmations, all of that stuff. That should be part of the value proposition that the dealership has. Whichever side the customer first walks into, whether it's the service side or the sales side, they need to know that no matter what, we can encompass all of your automotive needs and keep that message in front of them. It has to have continuity. And everybody, again, in cadence. I love the word cadence. That military gets me wanting to just shout out some cadence runs. Here we go, all the way, right? We got to get in step and sound consistent and the same. And the more consistent voices sounding the same, the more powerful we are. And this is a message that we want to keep getting out there. We do appreciate everybody that's been part of the party today so far. We've had James up in here, Don Brady. We got a Facebook user, which we'll know who you are when we go back and check it later. But
Yes, I don't know why Facebook, there's a little conflict with StreamYard, but we definitely love that you guys jumped on here today and put some comments in here. Selling prepaid maintenance in the drive. Yeah, I mean, why not, right? That should be happening. It should be at least talked about. If you're not taking opportunities every chance you can, you're missing opportunities. That's like they say, Wayne Gretzky says, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Right.
So it's important that we keep taking shots at everything, taking opportunities. Matter of fact, if I was a customer and you didn't offer it to me, I'd be a little mad, to be honest with you. So that's one of those things. I at least want to have the opportunity to be able to get all the protection I can for my vehicle.
That's right.
I love it. We got
what's up, Wendy Reeves?
Wendy Reeves in here saying,
happening?
keep growing.
Keep growing.
Wendy. That's right. Well, I'm worn out. These guys have worn me out today. This is awesome.
This has been a great show. I just want you to know there's been a lot of knowledge dropped. This is one that I cannot wait to put out as podcast out there for y'all to get some pieces of this. This is a great replay, folks. If you're just now catching this on the live, go back and rewind it and listen to what was said during the show. If you're having issues in your service department, check it out. If you're having issues in your sales department, this information that we are dropping today can help all those departments. This can really get you going to where you need to go. Accountability and retention, my friends. This is the year right now that we need to get back to the basics. And I'm telling you, if we're not getting back to the basics, you're going to fall apart. Fundamentals, a great foundation is how a house stays up. You have a bad foundation, it's going to fall apart. I don't care how good of the wood is that you use on top of that foundation. It's just going to fall apart. So make sure that you get that foundation, those fundamentals right. It's super important, man. This has been a great show. I really appreciate you all for being here today. Thanks for coming on here, spend some time. John, what's the best way for everyone to get a hold of you if they want to get some coaching and some, obviously, first thing, consulting to see what they need first?
Everybody say hi to Gail.
What's going on,
Gail?
Gail.
Hey, Gail, we love you. Please reach out to me. You can go to Fairchild, automotivesolutions.com. My email address is a really easy one. It's john@johnfairchild.net. So, yeah, reach out to me. Be glad to do a no obligation assessment for your fixed ops department. I'm here to help. I love helping people. That's my number one thing.
All right. And then, of course, Shon, I know that you're running your own place up there, but what's a good way for somebody to reach out to you? I know you're always willing to overflow and tell other people.
Always, man. I love what I do. I truly have a passion for what I do. And you listen, and we can post it later, but it's 850-490-3921. Guys, 24/7. Text me, call me. I'm up in Wisconsin all by my darn self anyways. I really don't have a life, just to be honest with you. And by the way, the Packers are out of the playoffs, so I really don't have a life, by the way. So again, 24/7, this is my passion. Heartfelt, John and Owen, guys. And again, we made a comment earlier. Guys, they're not vendors, they're partners. And I genuinely mean that. And as I'm building a fixed ops group up here, I'm building vendors that I'm firing and pushing out because they haven't had good partnerships. So just for the record, John and Owen, nothing but love for you guys too.
Thanks, Sean. Appreciate it.
You too, Sean.
And down below, you guys see the website. It's streaming across. If you want to get a hold of Owen and his team and be able to see how they can help you with your online service marketing, of course, go to fixedopsdigital.com. Reach out to them. You're going to get some great information. And like I said, there's no obligation with any of these people. All they want to do is help you. This is the year right now. Get back to those basics, my friends. Get out there, collab with others, partner up, learn some stuff. That's one thing about fixed ops. They're not scared to share. They want other fixed ops departments to do well, especially if you're not in their market. All right. So let's do this, man. This was a great show. Anything you want to say, Owen?
No, hey, John, Sean, I know when I asked you guys to be on the show, I'm glad you guys said yes, because I knew it was going to be a great show. We did not disappoint. John, enjoy the time with your family. I know you're not going to NADA. Sean, I will see you next week. Stop by, and I'd love to show you some of the new things that we're rolling out, and just talk a little bit about how you've gone in terms of with your new spot, and maybe we can even spar a little bit about the NFC North. So that'll be good.
That's right, Vikings in Green Bay. Let's go, right?
Well, man,
we can still be friends, even though we cheer for different teams. So.
That's all right. I still love you, buddy.
Yep.
Well, we appreciate each and every one of you that have joined us today, each and every one of you that have are joining us on the replay. Thank you so much for being part of the solution. And that's what we've been doing, Car Guy Coffee and Fixed Ops Digital, creating Fixed Ops Friday, because the conversations have to be had. We have to have these geniuses that we have onto the show talk and contribute. We're shout out to everybody out there that's making sure that we are getting roundtables together, service drive live actions happening. We love everybody that's trying to be a part of uplifting and upshifting this industry in a better light, because it's so worth it. We applaud each and every one of you that are doing it. But Shon and John and Owen and everybody that's part of this party today, thank you so much. We honor you all. I am Lou Ramirez, the Car Guy.
And I'm Frelin Arts, Subprime Hero.
And we've been brewing solutions on the Car Guy Coffee Podcast on Fixed Ops Friday with our sponsor, Fixed Ops Digital. Representing Fixed Ops Digital is the one, the only Owen Moon. And we're so thankful for our incredible guest today, the one, the only John Fairchild, accompanied by Shon Kingrey. We appreciate each and every one of you. Have an incredible day. Forgive, focus, fly, and we'll see you at NADA.
Have a great weekend. See you next week.
Peace.